Good morning. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
হ্যাঁ,
Okay.
শুনতে পাচ্ছি।
Fine. So in the last class we have already doing that particular underwriting of shares and debentures chapter. There I have completed two methods. One without form underwriting, and second one is with form underwriting when that particular form underwriting's benefit is given to not given to the individual underwriter like this. Okay. So today we'll do the third method actually. ওকে, আজকে থার্ড মেথডটা করাবো। ঠিক আছে, তো সেটাকে আমি স্টার্ট করছি। Okay, now here it is the third method where they have mentioned if the benefit of the firm underwriting is given to the respective underwriter. Okay, now I'll show you something. Just wait. আগের ক্লাসটা একবার দেখিয়ে দিই, নাহলে ব্যাপারটা গন্ডগোল হবে। Okay, now just see the difference here. The benefit of the firm underwriting is not given to the individual underwriter. This is your second method. Now what are doing today's class is about if the benefit of the firm underwriting is given to the respective underwriter. That is the difference between the two method. Okay, যখন বলছে যে firm underwriting এর বেনিফিটটা কাউকে দেওয়া হচ্ছে না, this is the second method. And third method is when the benefit of the firm underwriting is given to the respective underwriter. So that is the main difference between the second method and the third method. আমি second মেথডটা আর যাব না, থার্ড মেথডটাই স্টার্ট করছি। ঠিক আছে, সো okay, so the benefit of the firm underwriting is given to the respective underwriter. So what is the first step? Yes, the gross liability of the each underwriter is to be decided. It is sometimes given, sometimes not given. If not given, you have to divide that particular gross liability in the some ratios or percentage they have mentioned like this. Okay, so no problem of computing that particular gross liability. From that for the first step actually, from that marked application excluding firm underwriting for each underwriter are deducted. Okay, so the marked application, very careful, marked application excluding firm underwriting. Okay, so you have to deduct the marked application, but be careful about that particular point where the marked application should be এক্সক্লুডিং অফ ফার্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং, মানে মার্কড অ্যাপ্লিকেশনের মধ্যে যেন ফার্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং এর শেয়ারসগুলো না থাকে। যদি আলাদা করে দেওয়া থাকে ফাইন, দ্যাট মিনস ইফ দ্য মার্কড অ্যাপ্লিকেশন ইজ গিভেন without firm underwriting or already been excluding firm underwriting, then fine. Sometimes that particular firm underwriting included in the marked application, so you need to deduct. কখনো ডিডাক্ট করতে হয়, ঠিক আছে, আর কখনো ডিডাক্ট করতে হয় না। কখনো ওরা दिए देय, कभी कभी ऐसा दे देता है तो मार्क्ड एप्लीकेशन दे दिया जो फॉर्म अंडरराइटिंग उसमें इंक्लूड नहीं किया गया है, सो फाइन वी कैन प्रोसीड विद दैट. But sometimes it may happen the marked application is inclusive of the form underwriting, there you have to deduct that particular form underwriting. Okay, now step 2, you have to deduct the marked application. Up to this point it is almost similar for the three methods actually. Now if you find a negative result after that, that means gross liability থেকে marked application excluding firm underwriting টা minus করার পরে if there is some negative result, that negative result is to be added and divided in the ratio of the gross liability যেমন হয়ে থাকে। negative result जैसे adjust करते वो मैंने पहले ही दिखा दिया, ठीक है, no problem in that. Now this point number D is very important. Now here unmarked application by public should be found out as, মানে এটাকে যদি আগে বের করে নেওয়া হয় it will be better. Okay, if you find this earlier before entering into that particular schedule of workings, okay, if you calculate that particular unmarked application beforehand it will be better. Okay, so unmarked application by public should be found out as total application in bracket I have written excluding firm underwriting less marked application excluding firm underwriting. Okay, so you have to calculate, or you can calculate the unmarked application by applying this formula. Okay, total application excluding firm underwriting and marked application excluding firm underwriting. Okay, one thing you can also do, you can do like this: total application including firm underwriting less marked application including firm underwriting, এইভাবেও কিন্তু করা যায়। ओके, अनमार्क्ड एप्लीकेशन कैलकुलेट करने का ये एक फॉर्मूला है। दूसरा एक फॉर्मूला ऐसा हो सकता है: टोटल एप्लीकेशन इंक्लूडिंग फॉर्म अंडरराइटिंग लेस मार्क्ड एप्लीकेशन इंक्लूडिंग फॉर्म अंडरराइटिंग, बट इन एनी केस इट शुड नॉट बी लाइक दिस: टोटल एप्लीकेशन एक्सक्लूडिंग फॉर्म अंडरराइटिंग लेस मार्क्ड एप्लीकेशन इंक्लूडिंग फॉर्म अंडरराइटिंग। इट शुड नॉट बी देयर, माने दुटो जेन सेम थाके, एक्सक्लूडिंग थाकले दोनों ही एक्सक्लूडिंग रहेगा, इंक्लूडिंग रहने से दोनों ही इंक्लूड करके करो, ठीक है। बट इट कांट बी देयर वन इज एक्सक्लूडिंग वन इज इंक्लूडिंग। ओके, you can't do that. Okay, so total application excluding firm underwriting less marked application excluding firm underwriting, it will be best, but sometimes it may happen that total application including firm underwriting less marked application including firm underwriting, you can use that particular formula actually. কি রে এখনো আসবে আসবে করছে, কি হয়েছে শোনা যাচ্ছে না নাকি? Okay, so now that particular form under unmarked application should be divided in the ratio of their gross liability and deducted. You all know that unmarked application deductive হয়, ঠিক আছে, marked application deduct হয়, unmarked application ও deduct হয়, but প্রবলেমটা যেখানে হয় marked applicationটা কিভাবে ক্যালকুলেট করা হচ্ছে, unmarked applicationটা কিভাবে ক্যালকুলেট করা হচ্ছে, that is actually main point of concern. Okay, the process is all same for all the sums. You have to deduct marked application, you have to deduct unmarked application, fine, but how you are calculating that particular marked application and unmarked application, that is the point of concern. Okay, so step 4 actually you have to deduct the unmarked application. Okay, now step 5, form underwriting of individual underwriter should be deducted. Okay, so here form that form underwriting of individual underwriter should be deducted. Okay, so next step you have to deduct the form underwriting. Okay, so first step less deduct marked application, second step deduct unmarked application, third step deduct form underwriting, and after that if you find that particular result positive or nil, it is fine, but if it is a negative then you have to adjust it, and at the last, at the very end of the schedule, you need to add the form liability or form underwriting, you can say. Okay, so last step form underwriting টা add হবে, তুই যেভাবেই করিস না কেন। Okay, by any process you can apply, okay, but at the end of the calculation you must need to add that form underwriting টাকে লাস্টে কিন্তু অ্যাড আপ করতেই হবে, ঠিক আছে, চাই বা না চাই, ঠিক আছে, বিকজ ফর্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং এর নেচারটাই তাই। ফর্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং মিন্স হোয়াট? ফর্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং মিন্স ইজ নাথিং বাট the shareholder, the underwriter must have to take some amount of shares. Okay, so that will be their liability, except that whatever the calculations arises, that will be other thing. Okay, so calculations করে যেটা আসবে সেটা তো নিতেই হবে, প্লাস একটা পার্টিকুলার শেয়ার বলেই দেবে সেটা নিতে হবে। Okay, so at the end of the calculation, if the form underwriting is given, you have to add up the particular form underwriting কে অ্যাড করতেই হয় যখন ফর্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং এর সামস থাকে, ঠিক আছে। তাহলে এটা হচ্ছে where the form underwriting is benefit is given to all. লাস্টের দিনে যেটা করেছিলাম সেটাই বলেছিলাম, ফর্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং এর বেনিফিটটা সবাইকে দেওয়া হচ্ছে না। Okay, so it is given to all. Last class that is not given to all. Okay, individual underwriter কে দেওয়া হচ্ছে না। Okay, now we come to the this is actually the প্যাটার্ন। ওকে, বেটার এটাকে মুখস্থ করে নিলেই ভালো হয়, নইলে একটু অসুবিধা হয়, ঠিক আছে, নইলে ওরকমভাবে বুঝিয়ে করাটা চাপ হয়ে যাবে। ওকে, সো নাও জাস্ট সি দ্য সাম হিয়ার। আমি দুটো সাম করাবো, এটা ফার্স্ট সাম আর একটা সাম করাবো। ওকে, যদিও এখানে মাথার ওপর লেখা আছে, বাট হোয়াট আই সাজেস্ট, ডোন্ট গো আপন দ্যাট পার্টিকুলার পয়েন্ট। ওকে, জাস্ট সি দ্যাট the following underwriting took place for a company: X 6000 shares, Y 2500 shares, and Z 1500 shares. If you add, the total liability is 10,000 actually. And in addition, there will be the firm underwriting as follows: X 800, Y 300 and Z 1000. So there will be form underwriting is there, that is 800, 300 and 1000. So 8 3 11 2100 form underwriting total. Now the share issue was 10,000 shares. Total कितना share issue हो रहा है 10,000, वो तो मैंने पहले ही calculate कर लिया, 6,000 plus 2,500 plus 1,500. Now total subscription including form underwriting was 7,100 shares. Look at that, total subscription including form underwriting is 7,100. That means जो total subscription receive हुआ उसके अंदर form underwriting include किया हुआ है. And the forms included the following marked forms. Okay, मतलब যতগুলো পাওয়া গেছে তার মধ্যে এর মধ্যে following marked forms are also there. Okay, so X 1000, Y 2000 and Z 500. So the allocation of the liability of the underwriter. Okay, আচ্ছা, okay, now come to the solution here. তাহলে এখানে আমরা বলছি দেখ computation of unmarked application, already I have told you that you need to calculate the unmarked application beforehand. আগে থেকে unmarked application টা calculate করে রাখলে ভালো হয়, তাহলে সামটা করতে সুবিধা হয়. Now just see that underwriters XYZ I have made a column, marked application they have mentioned 1000, 2000 and 500. So total is 3500 and your form application is 800, 300 and 1000. So total is 2100. If I add it, then it will be 1800 for X, 2300 for Y and 1500 for Z. So total is 5600. Now come to my process down there. Okay, here I had to just see that it is total application excluding form underwriting and marked application excluding form underwriting I have mentioned, but at the time of calculating, just see that at the time of calculating, I have what I'm doing, I'm adding that particular marked application and the form underwriting. Okay, আমরা marked application for form underwriting টাকে add up করছি. So this 5600 is actually your marked application including form underwriting. Then you can say, you can ask me, why sir you have made that particular addition? Okay, you can deduct this 3500 only because it is excluding form underwriting. The problem is that look at the sum. In the sum, the form underwriting total subscription including form underwriting was 7,500. So your total subscription received given is including form underwriting. That's why I have to add up that particular marked application including form underwriting. আমার unmarked application টা including form underwriting দেয়া আছে, তাহলে আমার marked application টা including form underwriting করেই করতে হবে. ঠিক আছে, আমি অল্টারনেটটাও দেখিয়ে দিচ্ছি কিন্তু এখন এটা বুঝ. ঠিক আছে, সো মার্কড অ্যাপ্লিকেশন ইনক্লুডিং ফর্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং is to be found out as the total application received given is inclusive of the form underwriting. মানে 7100 এর মধ্যে ফর্ম আন্ডাররাইটিংটা ইনক্লুড করা ছিল, তাহলে আমি যদি তার থেকে মার্কড অ্যাপ্লিকেশনটা বাদ দিই দেন ইট শুড বি ইনক্লুসিভ অফ ফর্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং. ঠিক আছে, ওই জন্য আমাকে অ্যাড আপ করতে হলো. এবার যদি আমি যে মেথডটা লিখিয়েছিলাম, ওকে, অ্যাকচুয়ালি আই হ্যাভ টোল্ড ইউ if if it is including then both the things is including, if it is excluding both the things will be excluding. তাহলে আমার এখানে কি ছিল, this one is actually your আমি এখানে যে সামটা করলাম this is including. এবার আমি তোদের দেখিয়ে দিচ্ছি excluding হলে কি হয়. Okay, just see that the total subscription receipt excluding form underwriting 7,100 is the total including form underwriting, out of which your form underwriting is 2,100. So your total subscription excluding form underwriting is 5,000. Again, marked application excluding form underwriting যেটা আমরা এক্ষুনি ক্যালকুলেট করলাম. Okay, just this one 1000 plus 2000 plus 500, so it become 3500. So 3500 marked application excluding form underwriting. So unmarked application is 5000 minus 3500, 1500. ম্যাচ করলো? ঠিক আছে, এখানে ম্যাচ, this is also on 1500, this is also to be 1500, isn't it so? Okay, so whenever you calculate that particular unmarked application, very careful. If it is excluding then both the thing will be excluding, if it is including both the things will be including. Very careful about that particular point. Okay, এইটা কিন্তু খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট একটা পয়েন্ট. আচ্ছা, next what you have to do, you have to proceed for the calculations of the liability as you have calculated that unmarked application তো বেরিয়ে গেছে. এবার আমরা ক্যালকুলেট করব. সো ফার্স্ট ওয়ান ইজ দ্য গ্রস লাইবিলিটি they have given, আমাদের ক্যালকুলেট করার দরকার নেই because they have mentioned it properly. 6000 for X, 2500 for Y and 1000 for Z. So total is your 10,000 less marked application including excluding firm underwriting. So it is given 1000 for X, 2000 for Z, and 500 for 2000 for Y, and 500 for Z. So if I add it, it is 3500. So if you deduct it, 5000 X, 500 Y, and Z is 1000. Less unmarked application. Unmarked application you have already calculated. Unmarked application you have calculated as 1500. That is to be divided in the ratio of the gross liability. Gross liability ratio কত 60 25 আর 15 5 দিয়ে কাটা যেত 12 5 আর 3 ঠিক আছে আমি করিনি বা কোনো কারণে এরকম ভাবে ক্যালকুলেট করে দেখলাম সুবিধা হলো বোধহয় আমি জন্য করিনি মনে নেই আমার কি জন্য করেছি কাটলে ভালো হতো ঠিক আছে বাট আনসার উইল বি সেম যাই করি না কেন আমার আনসারটা তো আর ভুল আসবে না আনসারটা সেমই আসবে ঠিক আছে ওকে সো unmarked application you have to deduct 1500 at that rate the gross liability is nothing but your 60 25 and 15 so ওটাকে ডিভাইড করে for X it become 900 for Y it is become 375 and Z it is 225 okay so if I deduct it 4100 for X 125 for Y and it is Z 775 till now there is no negative result now we have to deduct the firm underwriting 800 300 and 1000 now there arises a negative result okay so 3300 positive for X 175 negative for Y 225 negative for Z now what I have told you the negative result will be adjusted against the positive result but there is a single positive result of X only so total negative result 175 plus 225 is to be charged on the X so just see that add or less negative liability of Y and Z borne by X okay so 175 plus 225 is actually become 400 so you have to deduct 400 from X part and from the Y it will be positive or it will be added 175 plus 225 so the net result arises your X 2900 is the net liability and that particular is the total liability total net liability of that particular shares now if you add the firm underwriting it is 800 300 1000 because I have already told you whatever may be the situation in case of the firm underwriting you have to take the particular shares or the underwriter must have to take that particular shares so 800 is for the firm underwriting for X 300 for Y and Z it is 1000 so total becomes 3700 for X 300 for Y and 1000 for Z so total is 5000 now where from this particular 2900 came you can calculate it very easily your total application receipt is total number of shares were 1000 look at that total number of shares is 1000 total subscription receipt including firm underwriting actually 7100 so actually if you deduct it 10000 minus 7100 2900 will be the liability of the underwriter okay apart from the firm underwriting ঠিক আছে নরমালি পাবলিকের কাছ থেকে কতটা আসেনি সেটাই তো আন্ডাররাইটারদের নিতে হয় পাবলিকের কাছ থেকে যতটা শর্টফল হয় সেটাই আন্ডাররাইটারদের টেক ওভার করতে হয় সো টোটাল শেয়ারস ইজ 10000 out from the public by any means from the underwriter from firm underwriting whatever may be the application is received for 7100 so obviously 2900 is the shortfall that is to be taken up by the underwriter okay so that one is also matched আমরা কিন্তু ক্যালকুলেট করে দেখলাম যদি আমরা ম্যানুয়ালি নরমালি ক্যালকুলেট করি তাহলে 2900 টি আসছে আর এখানে এই প্রসেসটা পুরো কমপ্লিট করার পরও 2900 is the net liability okay so this is your first sum okay এখানে কারোর কোনো ডাউট থাকলে আগে বল তারপরে সেকেন্ড সামে যাব বিকজ অঙ্কটা কিন্তু খুব একটা সোজা নয় yes you need to follow that process there is a single processটা ফলো করলে কমপ্লিট হয়ে যায় but still need to understand where from that particular calculations arises ঠিক আছে আর ক্যালকুলেশনসটা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট কারোর কিছু ডাউট থাকলে এখনই বল তারপরে নেক্সট সামে যাব okay no doubt so I'm moving to the next sum okay now just see that X Limited has an authorized capital of rupees 50 lakh divided into 5 lakh shares of rupees 10 each the company issue 1 lakh shares for subscription to the public at a premium of 5 each that 5 each doesn't carry any meaning until and unless you pass the journal entries otherwise কোনো কাজে লাগে না ঠিক আছে so the company is wanting to issue 1 lakh shares so your gross liability is nothing but 1 lakh The entire issue was underwritten as follows. Look at that: 60,000 A, 30,000 B, and 10,000 C. Total is 1 lakh. And firm underwriting individually given for A 10,000, for B 4,000, for C 2,000. Of the total issue, only 90,000 shares including firm underwriting. Okay, so 90,000 shares is actually inclusive of firm underwriting, were subscribed for marked application excluding firm underwriting. Here lies a very important thing. Your 90,000 actually including firm underwriting, and your marked application is excluding firm underwriting. What I have told you, that it can't be different. Okay, if it is including, then both of them are including. If it will be excluding, both of them will be excluding. Okay, excluding থাকলে দুটোই excluding থাকবে, including থাকলে দুটোই including থাকবে. But here 90,000 shares is actually including firm underwriting, and marked application is excluding firm underwriting. So you can't compare them until and unless you adjust. Okay, so better we just deduct that particular from that 90,000, the total application received. From that we can deduct that particular unmarked firm underwriting. ফার্ম আন্ডাররাইটিংটাকে যদি মাইনাস করে দিই, তাহলে ওটা এক্সক্লুডিং ফার্ম আন্ডাররাইটিং হয়ে যাবে, আর মার্কড অ্যাপ্লিকেশন তো অলরেডি এক্সক্লুডিং করাই আছে, সো ইউ ক্যান অ্যাডজাস্ট ইট অর ইউ ক্যান ক্যালকুলেট ইট। ওকে, সো এই পার্টটা আগে করি, তাহলে ব্যাপারটা বুঝতে সুবিধা হবে। ওকে, সো ফার্স্ট ওয়ান, computation of unmarked application. Look at that: total subscription or total application receipt, you can write excluding firm underwriting. Okay, but it was given including firm underwriting, that's why to make it excluding I need to deduct it. So 90,000 minus 10,000 minus 4,000 minus 2,000, 10 4 2 is the firm underwriting. তাহলে মাইনাস করে কত আসছে? 14 16 16 16 9 মানে হচ্ছে 874. Okay, so the total subscription receipt is actually 74, and marked application they have given 32 for A. Obviously it is excluding firm underwriting, that helps us actually. So A 32,000, B 20, and C 8, মানে 40 60. So the less marked application 32 plus 20 plus 8, that is 60. So the unmarked application is 14,000. Okay, so your unmarked application will be 14,000. That's a very important point, because one of them actually given on the basis including, and another one is given excluding, so you need to convert on a single basis. Okay, to calculate whatever will be the unmarked application. Okay, so after unmarked application have been done, now go enter into the process. যেমন প্রসেসটা বলেছিলাম সেই প্রসেসটা নর্মালি আমরা এন্টার করি, ঠিক আছে। সো ফার্স্ট ওয়ান, ইউ নিড টু পুট দ্য গ্রস লাইবিলিটি given 60 30 and 10, that's I've written it. 60 30 and 10, total is 1 lakh. From that you have to deduct the marked application. Marked application is given 32 20 and 8. Okay, marked application should be excluding firm underwriting. Okay, that look at that, marked application excluding firm underwriting 60 32 and 20. Sorry 32 20 as 8, so 60,000 is the total. So if I deduct it, total becomes 40,000. For A it is 28, for B it is 10,000, and for C it is 2,000. From that you have to deduct the unmarked application. The unmarked application you have already calculated 14,000 shares. On the basis of the gross liability, your gross liability ratio is 6:1. 60 30 আর 10 ছিল, তাহলে কাটলে কত হয়? 6:3:1. So 6:3:1, so 14,000 shares had been divided at the rate 6:3:1. So 8,400, 4,200, and 1,400. So if I deduct it, 26,000 is the total. 19,600 for A, 5,800 for B, and C it is 600. Okay, now less firm underwriting, 16,000 is the firm underwriting total, because 10,000 for A given, 4,000 for B given, and 2,000 for C given. So 16,000, if I deduct it, then 10,000 is the normal 10,000 remaining. So it is actually 9,600, 1,800, and 14,000 negative for C. ঠিক আছে, C এর actually negative এলো, so negative result will be divided among the positive result. So negative result is 14,000, that is to be divided among the A and B, because A and B have the positive result 9,600 and 1,000. The ratio is 6:3 actually, or rather you can say that 2:1. So if I divide that particular 14,000 into 2:1, so it will be 933 and 6467. Okay, so the net liability actually become your 10,000 for is the total, 8667 for A, and 1,1333 for B. So now last of all, I have already mentioned you the firm underwriting is always to be added. Okay, so firm underwriting is 16,000, so 10,000, 4,000, 2,000, so total liability becomes 26,000, where A's liability is 18,667, B's liability is 5,333, and C 2,000. Normally if you consider the net liability, C don't have anything as a net liability, but because of the firm underwriting he must have to take that particular 2,000 shares whether there is a shortfall or not. Okay, so that will be your his liabilities actually arises as 2,000 only. Okay, so this is the method. Okay, so in this way you can calculate that particular when the benefit of the firm underwriting is given to all, that means benefit of the firm underwriting is given to individual underwriter. Okay, so this is your third type of sum. If you have any question you can ask me, and in the next class we'll do some combined type of sum. আর দেখি কম্বাইন্ড টাইপ অফ সাম মধ্যে দু একটা আছে, মানে তিনটে মেথডের মধ্যে যে কোনো একটা দিয়ে করবো। ঠিক আছে, দেখা যাক সেটা কী থাকে, সামটা পড়ে বুঝতে হবে। এখানে যেমন আমরা কী করছিলাম, আন্ডার আ পার্টিকুলার হেড ওয়ার সলভিং। ওকে, সো দ্যাট উইল বি ভেরি ইজি বিকজ উই অল নো that this is the process of doing the sum and you are solving that particular sum on that particular topic, so it will be very easy. But if I consider the mix problem, okay, it will be very easy, very problematic to understand. That I will do in the next class. Okay, so this is the end of today's class. If you have any question, let's tell me. কারোর কোনো ডাউট থাকলে বলো। Mm-hmm.